All right, so let's talk about the cinematic because it's a weird one, and I am very confused by a great number of things in the cinematic, which I'm not entirely sure if that is, again, one of those let's keep the mystery alive by just confusing the fuck out of the player base, because that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm being confused just for the sake of being confused. Let's go through it, and I'll show you. So, first and foremost, it's clear that Anduin is not being controlled 100% of the time. It seems as if he was able to place a memory inside of his compass for his friends to find. An intimate moment that he and Sylvanas had.
The battle is almost upon us. I will deal with the invading forces atop Torghast. When we reach Oribus, you will defend Zoval while he completes the ritual.
You mean he will compel me to defend him?
Okay, but if he isn't being controlled right now, why not just remove the armor? Why not just... What exactly happened here? So, the first things that I want to point out here. Anduin is currently not being controlled by Zoval. He's capable of speaking for himself. Him and Sylvanas is having a conversation, basically talking about what the next step of the plan is. I don't feel as if Anduin is necessarily against the plan. The only problem he seems to have is the fact that he's being compelled by Zoval to do a whole number of things for whatever reason, right? But look at his eyes. Look at Anduin's eyes. It is possible that Anduin is no longer alive. That Anduin is what Arthas was. These are Death Knight eyes. Because the Soul Prison speaks of... Let me see if I can find it. Hold up. Give me a moment. I'll quickly see if I can find... Here we go. All right. So you have this Soul Prison, right? The Golden King. It's a soul inside one of Zoval's soul prisons. The Golden King. What are the chances that that is Anduin's soul? It was removed from him. So Anduin is no longer truly there. And there's more evidence of this that we'll discuss.
Each time he dominates my will, I feel myself slipping further away.
It feels like his only real problem is the fact that Zoval doesn't trust him enough. So Zoval keeps dominating him. Because at no point does he make clear that he doesn't agree with this fight or that he doesn't agree with what Sylvanas is doing. He just doesn't want to be dominated.
Is this what you felt when Arthas raised you, Sylvanas?
So this is another part of what I believe highlights the theory that Anduin may in fact be dead. So Anduin is no longer with us. He has become a Death Knight, undead. Because that's what happened to Sylvanas. He is asking her, is this what happened to you? So when Arthas raised you, did you also only see darkness? The inability to eventually feel yourself think or be. Is that what happened here?
Hollow. Empty. Everything you once were. Consumed by darkness.
Yes, young lion. But in the end, the sacrifices we've made.
The sacrifices we've made. In the end, the sacrifices we've made. I keep coming back to this idea that he did choose. Yeah, she no longer calls him Little Lion. It's Young Lion now. There's perhaps a growing respect, perhaps a growing, this is, you know, the sacrifices we've made will have been worth it. We've made. In other words, Anduin made the sacrifice as well. Anduin decided this as well.
Will have been worth it. Once the cycle of life and death has been broken and remade.
This is most likely what Anduin signed up for. If it's true. I'm not saying it is true. But if it's true, and Anduin did indeed decide to, you know, join the fight, so to speak, that Anduin did decide to join Sylvanas' side, he joined for this reason, to break this cycle of life and death. This cycle where gods get to decide who lives and who dies, who gets to go back and who doesn't. That's the cycle that she wanted broken, and that's the cycle that Anduin agreed to break. However, Anduin did not agree to this. The control that is being exercised over him That he did not agree with.
We will.
By that time, I'll have been lost. And so will you.
By that time, I'll have been lost, and so will you. He genuinely cares about Sylvanas. Or at least that's what Blizzard is trying to convey here. We won't be around to see this. But I keep coming back to my same fucking question. Why will Sylvanas have been lost because of this? By every metric, she isn't being controlled. Her soul isn't bleeding out. She's not losing herself more and more. She's already lost, right? Her soul is already lost. She doesn't have her soul. So why does he believe that she will be lost as well? He believes he loses humanity, that Sylvanas will lose the last of hers as well, because the last of her humanity resides within his. Dragonwolf, I mean, that's a good theory, but there's no evidence to say that her humanity lies within him in any way, shape, or form. Just the anime, and that's sad. I wouldn't say that. I'm genuinely interested to know what exactly is the story here, because this doesn't make sense to me. This cinematic feels as if it's so filled with contradictions.
I only hope my friends will remember me as I was, not what you made me to be.
And then another contradiction. The sacrifices we've made, the fact that I'm being controlled, I don't like this, but they're not what you made me to be. Did she force him? Didn't she force him? Why is the message not clear in this cinematic? I mean, I'm not asking that they lay out their entire plan for the rest of the expansion, but I would like some clarity so that I'm not left, because if I'm left sort of going, is Anduin, isn't Anduin, then I can only imagine what a player that doesn't follow the lore at all is going through. Because I'm assuming that person doesn't have a fucking clue what is happening here. A normal pleb that just plays the game and doesn't care about the lore, they're most likely looking at this and going, no, fuck it, I'll just move on. Because I can't make head or tails of this. It's contradicting itself. Everything about this is contradicting itself. There's interesting things that we can definitely speculate on. And there's some interesting things that may highlight itself, right? In time. This could turn into something interesting. But that doesn't change the fact that this is not necessarily good writing. This is not how you convey a story to the player base, especially considering this is supposed to be a big moment, right? This is supposed to be a very big moment in the story. This is where people are supposed to feel sorry for Sylvanas. Hollow, empty, everything you once were, consumed by darkness. This is where people are supposed to feel pity for Sylvanas. They're supposed to feel sad. This is like the start of her redemption story. This is also the part where people should long for Anduin and want to help him. But I'm confused because I don't know, did he say yes? Didn't he say yes? Was he going to... What? Did he help them? Did he agree to help them? Didn't he agree to help them and he was somehow controlled into helping them? Everything is confusing in this cinematic. It's not a bad cinematic, but it's also not a good cinematic. And that is sort of sad. What did you think? How do you find the cinematic, chat? Because I genuinely don't know. I don't know what to make of this. It feels like I've been waiting for the story to kick off or at least come to a conclusion. And with every single thing that we see in the story, I find myself more and more confused about what the fuck the story is actually about. Which I get, you don't want to give away your ending, but at this point, I don't know what ending you can give me where I am going to feel like I can actually follow the story, right? I can actually see this was logically, it made sense. Because I can't even follow this logic. I don't know what the logic is here. What's the logic?